Hi, Ken.
Hello, Kent. I really loved your video yesterday on scouting, and it was something we were both involved with, and we both stuck to it till the end, thanks to our parents, who knew it was kind of in our best interest. It made me think of old campouts and capture the flag in a past date and time, where I also stole a shirt from a scarecrow at one point. But that's a story for another day. It's Inspirational Saturday. I've decided to talk about another idol of mine, David McWane. You know that weird signed poster I have in my room with that guy sitting behind the typewriter? Yeah, that's the guy I'm talking about. Meet David. David McWane hails from Hamilton, Massachusetts, a historic town on the North Shore of Boston where he spent his childhood in a first period house surrounded by history, dense woods, blossoming orchids, and flowing streams. From an early age, music was his avocation, forming and performing in a succession of bands from middle school through high school. As a student at the Berklee College of Music in Boston, he and six friends started another band called Big D and the Kids Table, for which he is the lead vocalist. For the past 12 years, Big D has brought the unique style of ska punk music to a worldwide audience and have developed a widely devoted fan base. David began his career composing lyrics for Big D's music, but as the band traveled the roads across America, Canada, England, Eastern, and Western Europe, David began to recount his observations and experience in prose and poetry. For nearly 12 years, Big D played in the underground clubs, churches, and outdoor venues, and David rarely slept in one city for more than one night, sleeping in underground squats in Slovenia, the Czech Republic, Australia, Austria, Germany, Luxembourg, France, Italy, Spain, and couch surfing through the American Midwest. David gained an intimate look at the life of a world-traveling musician, all of which he recorded. On tour, on tour breaks back in Boston, David would sneak into buildings on the Harvard campus to compile his notes for his first book, The Gypsy Mile. This self-published book is a collection of poetry and prose that describes his observations of people he's met, places he's visited, and experience he's had all around the world. Selling over 1,000 copies, David has developed a loyal and enthusiastic following of readers. Now that's all from his actual site, because it's in his own words. So yeah, plagiarism, but slightly. Just slightly. Now, as you may or may not know, I have two of his books, one being a book of poetry, and another about his tour with his band all through Europe. So what is so inspirational about him, you ask? Well, to put it honestly, I knew him from Big D and the Kids Table first, which my friend Shane introduced to me during my great ska revolution of my life back in 2009. I know you like some ska, but people can treat ska like I treat country, and I think it all sounds the same, when in all honesty we know they are variously different. Big D started out as more of a punk band, and as the years passed became a little more jazzy and toe tapping, or as Dave says it, fluent in stroll. I could talk about his music all day, but the last thing I will say about this is that his band just recently put out two new records, one sounding like their earlier days called Stomp, and the other sounding more like their current style of dub and swing music called Stroll. It's just amazing how they show where they came from and where they are now in just two albums. Now, when I really like an artist, I like to look up their bio and learn more about them. And when doing this, I found out Dave was a writer. So I went to his main site for the first time and read up some of his work. The man had me from then on. Kent, I'm not sure if you're a poetry guy, but it's like we tell people who say they hate reading. You just need to find the right author and the style that interests you. Dave has shown he gets a lot of his influence from Charles Bukowski, who I'll be talking about in a future video. Bukowski wrote in a way of brutal, ugly truth. He wrote it as he saw it. metaphorical babble about flowers and using a whole page to describe the sun shining on things. I'm looking at you, Oscar Wilde. Dave's writing style can range from reflective to silly to worldly issues to the just straight up bizarre, which is directly influenced by Bukowski. Now, I'm going to give you an example of these from an audiobook where he is actually narrating all these stories and poetry. So here's Reflective.
Johnny Trouble's Bar. The 3 napkins under my beer are fancy enough. There were 4, but I had to write on some.
Now here's Silly.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Bazooka Day! If I were rich, I mean filthy stinking rich, I'd call up the mayor of Bozeman, Montana, and buy a mountain range, the beautiful kind, far off in the distance with snow-white summits and that light blue glow. It's an impressive part of the earth that sniffs the sky, the horizon of Bozeman, Montana's superhighway, a beauty to gaze at. If I was rich, I mean filthy stinking rich, I'd buy that mountain range and have Bazooka Day. It would consist of a couple of friends of mine, about 9. We'd have old aluminum lawn chairs, one for each of us, and snacks, and a grill, and a lot of beer, tall cans of Pabst Blue Ribbon. We'd also have a missile launcher, maybe 3, and plenty of missiles and RPGs, and an RPG launcher, the kind from the great movie Red Dawn. We'd sit there all day and shoot our missiles and RPGs at my mountain range. We wouldn't be that good, and that would make it all the more fun. Maybe we'd give one of my friend's girlfriends a life-size Hummer. She could control it by radio control, and we'd all try to blow it up with our missiles and RPGs. But we wouldn't be that good, and we'd probably be kind of drunk. But that would make it all the more fun, like when you stink at bowling and everyone gets a razz because it's your turn to toss. We'd sit there in our decrepit lawn chairs, shooting missiles and RPGs at my Montana mountain range in Bozeman, Montana. If I were rich, filthy, stinking rich.
Now a worldly issue.
Money in the toilet. Who do they think they are to fill the urinal with coins when there are at least 3 homeless men outside? Do these men of money demand that those in need must be humiliated before they are given a pocketful of change? I didn't like it. I wouldn't have it. I dove my hand into the urinal and took all the coins out, washed them in the sink, then dried them with folded paper towels. On my way out of the bar, I handed the coinage to 3 homeless men who looked to be in their upper 50s. The men were much appreciative. They smiled lovingly and called me brother. As I walked on home over the Longfellow Bridge, feeling my drunk, I listened to a crew boat coasting lightly atop the Charles River and felt the warm breeze that Boston summers release. In my thoughts, I envisioned the men who had tossed the coins in the toilet, and as I looked to where the lamplight of high buildings reflected on the ripples of the rowers' small wakes, I thought of the mean men of money. I thought, you little bastards.
Just a strange thing. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
If the bomb hits. If the bomb hits, none of those electronic bathrooms will work anymore. Piss and shit will be everywhere, like the toilet at a rock show, or worse. Travelers will stop at rest side shops, buy overpriced gas and coffee, but when it's time to piss and shit, it'll be in a room of excrement, a muddy skunk patch of human waste. Or maybe we'll all approach the building with medical masks, or by fashion's choice, attractive bandanas. Covering our noses, we'll gag as we approach the bathroom that has piss and shit falling out its doorway. If we can stomach walking in, we'll do our business on the ground, on the collective waste of others, or maybe just behind the building, gagging and throwing up from the stench of our own piss and shit. But that will be the norm after those electronic bathrooms stop working if the bomb hits.
Yeah, can you see why I love this guy? I mean, man, who says this shit? But this is why I love this man so much. I love his writings, I love his music. And since today is Saturday, Ken, I would like for you to talk about tomorrow an author or a poet whose musings you obsessed over as well. So it's not too hard. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow, man.
Last night, which is ticking me right off, cause I had that cap, so it's real small. Then find out just right now that my main squeeze went through my phone. Ooh, so I guess I'm single now. Imagine that. So I sneak right